to My Crazy Life. I'm Lori, and I will be your hostess today. Today I would like to talk to you about my diet. Ketogenic specifically. I reference it a lot in different videos, and I thought it would be a good time for me to explain what it is, why I do it. I just loaded a haul from grocery shopping, but I thought it would be a good time to explain myself. Today we're having Republic of Tea, English breakfast. I love tea and coffee. It's still very cold here in Ohio. It's snowing right now a little bit. I mean, it's not like sticking or anything, but there's snow. I'm ready for spring. Just wanted to throw that out there. If anybody's listening, I'm ready for spring. Anywho, my diet, it's not really a diet at this point. I mean, it's a way of life. A little backstory. I'm diabetic. I'm 47, and I felt terrible. My sugars were out of control. The past few years, I was caring for my mom, who had amongst other things, but I was diagnosed with untreatable cancer. So I was a caregiver, and true to form, I took care of my mom very well, but I didn't take care of me. She passed last February, and I thought I was in a funk. Honestly, I thought that I was, just super sad. I lost my mom. I was kind of floundering. Where was I going with my life? Blah, blah. And then one day I woke up and I'm like, I need to make some changes. I went to the doctor, and if you're diabetic, you'll understand my A1C, which is a blood test that measures your highs and lows over the last 90 days. So for 3 months, the higher the number, that means the more peaks and valleys, which means the more out of control your blood sugar is. The lower the number, the more stable you are, which means you're in control. Ideally for me, and everybody's different, my doctor would like to see me at 6.5. That just means that I'm relatively in control. So I went to the doctor probably in January before she died, had some blood work done. My A1C was 9.3. So that's pretty bad. I mean, it's not the worst, but it's pretty bad. And we talked about why, and that my primary care doctor happened to be my mom's as well. So they knew what I was going through, and nobody was giving me a hard time about it, but it needed to be addressed. So once she had passed and amount of time went by and I was not getting better. I was struggling to get out of bed in the morning. I felt like I was just dragging. I was always tired, and I couldn't find my normal energy level. And that's what I decided. So I started researching, and I started watching some videos, and I knew I needed to cut the carbs out. I did not want to go on insulin. Like, that was the big thing for me, is to avoid going on insulin, because I've seen what it can do. And if you're on insulin, that's what you need to be. But if I could fight it off as long as I could, that's what I was going to do. So video after video, watching different things, I stumbled across Christy Sullivan, Cooking Keto with Christy. And I was watching some of her videos, and she had referenced her Facebook group, and I kind of took a look over there, and I saw what they were doing. And I guess I would classify what they're doing as clean keto. So it's very clean. There's not there's very specific sweeteners. You don't want to use, any sweetener that's going to be a disruptor. They don't recommend soybean and palm oil. So there's a lot of ingredients that are not recommended. And I just threw my pen across the room, but that's okay. I'll get it. So I was watching and reading, and I kind of eased into it just by default. I knew I needed to give up the carbs. I knew as a diabetic, that was my downfall. And as I was getting the carbs out of my system, I started feeling better. And I woke up and I had all this energy, and it was noticeable. It was noticeable within like a week. And I was surprised, but I kept going. And then the weight started dropping. And, I had put on probably 25 pounds in a year and a half caring for my mom. And, she wasn't eating well. So I was getting fast food and picking her up anything she wanted to try to get her to eat, just to, maintain her energy level while dealing with chemotherapy and radiation and all that. So clearly like I said, I wasn't caring for myself, but I went ketogenic and things changed super fast. Now, I'm a slow loser. I've always been a slow loser. My weight right now is pretty plateaued. Uh, and that isn't even a concern. Like, I feel good. So I can honestly say since June 5th of 2017, I have not eaten any sugar, or I can't say that I haven't eaten carbohydrates, but I haven't eaten any simple carbs. I have not had any bread. I have not had crust, no sugar, no cheating, no candy, no, just none. Because this is what I heard, and it really motivated me. One cheat could set you back 2 weeks of hard work. So let that one sink in for a second, because I'm not willing. I'm not willing to eat something that's going to make me feel poorly because I want it. So I started the ketogenic journey. Now, for me, I know my downfalls in life. I have a horrible sweet tooth. I love bread. I love carbs, but I can't have them. So I've been looking for alternatives, and that's how I found, my necklaces are all tangled up. That's how I found cooking keto with Christy. I was looking for, keto-friendly recipes that I could make. I needed something that resembled bread. I wanted something for a sweet treat. I needed to have those because it wasn't going to work if I couldn't. So that's kind of how I became keto and why I became keto and why I stick with it. I will say that I went to my doctor, to an endocrinologist. So that is a doctor that treats the endocrine system, diabetes, and thyroid. So for me, that's why I go. I have a thyroid disorder, and I'm diabetic. So my doctor recommended that I go see him. So I had blood work done 4 months before I went, because when I went to see him, I had another blood test, and I had only been keto 2 months. So that would have been June and July. So I must have had the blood work done the beginning of August. So it went back to May, June, and July. In May, I was not ketogenic. And my blood A1C went from 9.3 to 6.4. And he was super happy with that. I mean, that's within the range that they recommend for me. I do take a once a week shot, which I think I have it right here. So I took it today. It's called Trulicity, and it's not insulin. What it is, it's like a metformin or a pill, but I take it once a week. I couldn't handle the pills. My stomach wouldn't tolerate it. So I take this shot 1 time a week, and that's all the diabetic medicine that I take. So he was really happy. He wanted to see me again in 3 months just to make sure everything was on keel. I told him about my diet. He was supportive of that, which not all doctors are. I mean, I know it's a kind of a radical diet, because you're really limiting what most doctors and nutritionists consider fuel. But what I'm doing is teaching my body to burn fats instead of carbohydrates. So it's a high fat, medium protein, low carb diet. And by low carbs, I mean like 7 carbs a meal. That's the maximum that I will eat in a day. Maybe a cheat days I have a meal that has 8 carbs, and that's every day. This is not negotiable in my life. So I went 6.4. They were super happy. He wanted to see me in 3 months because he wanted to see what my body was going to do being keto for 3 whole months. So I went back 3 months later and had a blood work again, and it was 5.9. So that's currently where my A1C is. So I am considered a controlled diabetic. I take one medicine, my Trulicity, once a week, and that's it. And the rest is diet and exercise, which I do exercise. I walk. I don't do extreme yet. I will be back on my bike here soon, but I gave my body a break over the winter time. Plus, any type of extreme exercise can make my body release insulin, and I get a blood shoots up. So, my blood sugar might be 120 when I wake up. I work out, and it's 189, and I haven't even eaten anything. It's just how my body reacts, which my doctor said was normal for me. So that's the who, why, and wheres. I told you about the benefits. The benefit for me is that I feel good. My blood sugars are good. My cholesterol has come down. My good cholesterol has gone up. My bad has gone down. I mean, it's not perfect. I may always have to take medication because there is a specific amount of cholesteroling that is, cholesterol issues that are hereditary. I have my energy level back, so it for me, it works. I will say I am a huge believer in that there's not one specific diet for everybody. That you really need to find what works for you, what works for your lifestyle. I live alone, so I don't cook for other people. I don't have to worry. I mean, when I went on this diet, I literally went through my entire home and I took out every stitch of food that I cannot eat. And I took it to work and I gave some to my brothers. It was gone out of my house because if I couldn't have it, I did not want it here. Now my niece is here all the time and I do have food for her because obviously she's as far from keto as you can get. She's a vegetarian. So I do have some pasta dishes and things for her, but that's her food. It's not mine. I'm not tempted to eat it. I do have some treats, like downstairs in my fridge. I have what is considered a fat bomb, and it's made with buttercream, chocolate. It's unsweetened cocoa, and then an authorized sweetener. Right now, I think I have sucrin in there, which is a stevia erythritol blend. It does not make my sugar spike. I put a little vanilla and a little tablespoon of peanut butter just for some thickness. Heat it up, mix it up, put it in the fridge, and it sets up like a fudge. But that's something that I can have at night when I want my sweet treat. So in my video, you're going to see where I went to the grocery store. There was a lot of fatty meats. I eat chuck roast instead of a lean tenderloin. I eat sausage. I eat pepperoni. There's a macro involved, which I'm still working through that macro process, but it needs to be higher fat than protein, and then carbs is the bottom. Tonight for dinner, I had some broccoli slaw, which was just some pre-shredded broccoli coleslaw mix, and I made a mayonnaise-based dressing for it, and that was dinner. I don't eat heavy at night. Now, I will have some fat bomb later, probably, just because I do like a sweet treat before I go to bed, but my weight is holding. I grocery shop. I stuff my food with, my home with foods that I can eat. The other key to my success as far as staying on track is that on Sundays, I meal plan and I cook. So this week I made like a cauliflower casserole. I totally made it up, but it's mashed cauliflower, like a twice baked potato. Same ingredients, sour cream, cheese, ranch mix, mashed cauliflower, and then I put cube ham in it so that I have a protein in my lunch. That's my lunches for the week, and then breakfast has been bacon, and I'll make some hard-boiled eggs here tonight. I think I was going to do it yesterday, but I didn't get around to it. And then I bring pork rinds if I want to snack during the day, which I'm a snacker, so I usually do eat the pork rinds during the day. And then I have my coffee or tea or water. I drink a lot of water. Got to keep my fluids in me. But it's working. It works for me. So when I say I have all this candy in my house, but I don't eat it, I'm being 100% Scout's honor truthful. The candy will leave with Easter. What I don't give to Sarah and her friends will go to school with Sarah, and she'll give it to her students. Keep it in a drawer that the kids can go in and get a treat in the afternoon if they would like. When I travel, because I do have my trip coming up that I've mentioned probably 100 times because I'm super excited, I will pack things that I can eat on a 7-hour flight overseas overnight. I've researched the stores over there. I can get my keto food. We can get Sarah her vegetarian food at the same. And restaurants aren't hard. I mean, worst case, I get a burger without a bun and a side of steamed broccoli. I mean, put some butter and sour cream on the broccoli and it's dinner. I don't need special food as far as like I'm not gluten intolerant, but I don't eat a lot of gluten. When I bake bread, there's certain recipes, but it uses oat fiber, which is an insoluble fiber, so it doesn't raise my blood sugar. I use whey protein isolate, which is no carbohydrates, no sugar, but it brings texture to the meal. I use a sweetener, a lot of cream cheese, a lot of eggs for structure and for texture. I do use a little bit of coconut flour and almond flour. However, both of those are relatively high in carbohydrates, so I cut them back and use more of the coconut or the oat fiber and protein powder when I decide that I want to make some type of a roll or a biscuit or bread type product. Um, yeah, I mean, I look for alternatives and I keep them handy. I went on a cruise last year and I stayed keto for the whole week of the cruise, but I brought with me in a plastic like shoe container a dozen pumpkin spice muffins that I made. And at night when I wanted my treat, I had muffins in my cabin that I could have one. And it satisfied me and it didn't make me want to eat things off plan. It was very important to me. So I just wanted to kind of introduce what I'm talking about when I say that I have a weird diet and people look at me funny when I pack out my lunch wherever we're at. But, those are my life choices. Everybody has their own. And I'm here to tell you, you can do it. I did it. You can do it. And if you have any questions about it, please feel free to email me or put a comment below and I will be happy to discuss it, or at least make sense when I talk about it. You'll understand where I'm coming from. So thought I would just share that little bit of story with you since my grocery haul is coming up and it's going to look a little bizarre to some folks, but that is my diet. All right. Well, you guys have a great week. Bye.